It's time to talk golf again. And that means Jan Stephenson is once again back here as we get ready for the World Golf Championship event match play at Austin, Texas. Jan, the PGA Tour event in your backyard is now gone, the Valspar Championship. You've been on site the last couple of weeks, not just at the Valspar, but also the players. So how was it? How I was a lot better weather-wise this past week, that's for sure.
It was. It was. They were lucky. They had rain on Tuesday, so that kind of softened the greens up a little bit, and then the weather was beautiful the rest of the time.
And it was Sam Burns. And by the way, that was a good prediction on your behalf because
I know I'm actually doing pretty well. So
yes,
the match play is going to be a little harder, but I watched Sam at the TPC, and then of course you've got great memories. You know how we always talk about horses for courses. So he had great memories going in. I was surprised Riley really hung in there after he made a triple, but Sam just looks so good. He's putting really well right now. I was actually sitting right behind on his putt on 18, and both times, and I thought he'd made it, and he did too, and it just didn't break. I would have read the same way.
yeah, it was tough to see Davis Riley not get the job done when you see and we talked about it last week that you get these crazy winners at the Valspar. So he was going to fit the bill perfectly, and so it was almost like it was poetic that you had two trends actually working at the same time because now we've had back to back and back to back. So we've had two back to back champs. So that's a new trend. Or it was going to be one of the other trends that seems to work at Valspar, where you get this, highly ranked player or lower ranked player, I should say, that comes out of nowhere to win. So
Yeah, he played really well in the golf. I thought the golf course played tough. I played it yesterday. They always have a media day, and then they invite some special players. So I played it yesterday with the same pins, and it really played hard, really hard. Because I played it the Monday before that in the celebrity event, and I shot really low. So I was like, oh, I'm going to shoot low again today. But the pins were the whole locations were really hard to read the
yeah,
putts.
that's what you like about this swing too, is that it gets tougher. It toughens everybody up. By the way, the news I noticed that Phil Mickelson is now backed out or will not play at the Masters. So that's unfortunate.
Wow.
I guess he's talking about how he has to. It's the whole family thing, and I get it. I really do. After everything that he went through, it's just unfortunate because you kind of felt that this would have been his home, so he would have been fine. Fan wise, he would have been fine, but
I agree.
he's obviously thinking about other things. So
Yeah, I think it's a mistake. I know it's because he's not used to having so much negativity, and it is tough. It's hard to handle. I think, like you said though, I think the fan base would have been there for him, and they would have cheered him on.
yeah, and who knows when we'll see him again? But golf goes on, and a matter of fact, Sam Burns withdrew this week, and we can understand that after a win and in the playoff. So emotionally, kind of hard to kind of get right going again. Just a couple of days on a short week at match play. But not only did Sam Burns withdraw, but also there are other players that decided to not play that could have played, and that includes Rory McIlroy, Hideki Matsuyama, Harris English, and of course Phil and Cameron Smith. So Cameron Smith also not playing this week. By the way, McNeely gets bumped in with Burns withdrawing. So let's talk about the brackets. Everybody wants to dive into the brackets, and so I'm trying to do my best to find out trends as usual of what works at match play because it's very hard to handicap match play. Um,
Very hard.
yes, and let's keep in mind this is going to be the sixth year at Austin Country Club. So a couple of things I noticed. Well, first of all, Americans have won four straight. Jason Day kicked it off, Aussie, in 2016. And by the way, Jason Day became only the third player to win multiple match plays, whether it was at Austin Country Club or any of the other locations. The other two, can you name the other two?
I think it was Tucson or in Arizona.
No, I mean, name the other two players that have
Oh,
won multiple match plays,
oh
championships.
no! I'm trying to think. No, I can't.
One's easy.
All right, you got to get. Well, tell me who they
Well,
are.
Tiger.
Oh,
Yeah. And the other is an Aussie.
Oh, Leishman. Did
No,
Mark Leishman
no,
do it twice?
no,
Adam Scott couldn't have.
no. Older. Not even playing anymore.
Greg?
Nope. Jeff Ogilvy.
Oh my gosh, I'm surprised that Jeff was good at match play, huh? But
Yeah.
I can understand us Aussies being good at match play because we play a lot of match play in amateur golf.
Okay.
All of the state opens, we used to always be that. The Australian Open was match play. So in amateur golf, and then of course all the country clubs went out. We call them pennant matches. The inner matches with clubs were all match play. So in Australia, it was definitely a tradition, a British tradition, but Australians carried it on. We play a lot of match play.
All right. Well, so those are a couple of things to keep in mind. Now, here are some trends regarding the average ranking and average seeds of champions. Okay, and I'm going to go just to the last three because that's when things get interesting. So the last three winners of match play, their average seed is 38th.
Wow.
And their average rank is 41st. So you've got a 41st. Wow. So basically, it's that 35 to 45 ranking seeding type player. All five. Now, if we take a look at the entire five, and I'm only going to look at the runner-ups now. So this shows you too that it's the same thing really in runner-up. So as far as all five seeded runner-ups, the average seed is 24th, and for all five rankings of the runner-ups, the ranking average is 27th. So even the runner-ups, a little bit better, a little bit higher up or lower, but bottom line is, it's not like you're getting, the top 10 guys in the world winning, and that's why it's so difficult to handicap because these guys come from nowhere.
Well, the reason is, with tennis, you can usually pick who the top 10 are going to, it's usually out of the top 10.
Sure.
It's much easier to pick. But in golf, that just shows to show you it is a game of inches, and with only 18 holes, anything can happen. I mean, we always say anyone can beat you in 18 holes if you're on the tour. They're that close to difference. It's just maybe a putt here and there. And the other thing is that when you're the favorite, the other person can be a little more aggressive and can kind of go for it because they're not expected to win. So being the favorite is a very hard position in match play. I don't know. I've seen it over and over. And the ones where you're saying in the middle of the pack, that's typical because, it goes one plays 64, et cetera. So that middle range, they're all so good and so close that when I went to picking them, those ones between the lowest seed, which is 11, and the highest seed is 60, that's really hard to pick. And a lot of that depends on who's playing well at the time, not who's the best player, because a lot of that is, they're all getting ready. They're aiming at the Masters. So who's getting warmed up? I mean, I've got a couple of picks that I would never pick normally, but I looked at it and went, wow, they've had a couple of good weeks. I watched the way they're playing. They're moving their way up. And they could be, you're always looking for the surprise. And that's the hardest part about this tournament, because the sponsors don't like it when the top 10 aren't in the last, 4 or 5 seeds.
Especially over the weekend, yeah.
Yeah, and they don't like that because the ratings go down, and and it's very difficult. And that's why a lot of the players don't usually like to play that, because they don't want any negativity with only 1-2 more weeks before the Masters.
Yeah, and it's a grueling week. You play a lot of, especially if you're making it over the weekend. You're playing a lot of golf.
Yeah, I can understand why Sam Burns pulled out. I mean, once you've won, it's kind of a letdown anyway. So, and then he's getting ready. Probably, I don't know. He'd probably play the next one and then get ready for the Masters. But he may take 2 off. Who knows?
Okay, so let's take a look at the John Rahm region first. So he's the first seed there, and he has. If you take a look, just even in his 4 little group there, he's got to contend with Patrick Reed, and Patrick Reed is Patrick's
playing pretty well, right?
Reed's very good at match play.
He is. I mean, look how he gets all fired up for Ryder Cup. So he'll have a hard match then, but then I think I still pick him to win, but it's going to be tight.
Yeah, I agree. I still think Rahm gets out of that because Rahm's a good match play player as well. In 4 attempts at this golf course, he's finished 5th in the top 5 twice, and he was runner-up the very first time he played here. So the only thing is his game, his overall game, is just not maybe where you usually see it, because he's been much hotter. even though he's number one player in the world, if you look at it, first of all, he doesn't have a win since the U.S. Open. No, excuse me. I think so. But wait, did he the Tour Championship? And I don't know. Some they score that, But the fact is that if you throw out even the Tour Championship situation, U.S. Open, the less regular full field event that he's actually won, and over his last 4 events, no top 5s. So
yeah, he's played a lot too this season. I mean, this year he's played a lot trying to get his game in shape. But so he took off a long time. He took off, a big time in the winter. He didn't play towards the end very much, when they consider the new season. So I think he's pretty desperate for a win right now.
yeah, I'm gonna have Rahm because I don't really like any of the other competition besides Reed in that section there. Even not only his 4, but the other 4 to get him into the quarters because Shane Lowry is not a very good match play.
Yeah,
I was surprised by that.
But he's playing well.
Sure, he is.
I watched him play last week, and I felt like he was missing some putts, but I thought the last 3 tournaments he's played really well. Even if he hasn't scored, I've watched him play, and I think I actually think he's got a, win, but he's all the way down further then.
Yeah, he's in the second foursome.
Yeah.
So you got Rahm. I have Rahm going to the round of 16, actually all the way to the quarters.
I agree.
Who do you have between Koepka, Lowry, Varner, and Van Rooyen? Do you have Lowry?
I tell you, that's going to be a hard one because Shane and Harold Varner's playing really well.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's playing very well, but so is Brooks. I watched Brooks on Sunday or on Saturday. He was the only one that shot really low on Sunday. This golf course was tough. I think he shot in the 60s, 66 or 65. So I have a feeling that he's coming good at the right time. So even though I think he's going to have trouble, Shane's playing well, but Varner's not going to have that much trouble with Ruin, I would think. So I'm picking Koepka and Rahm.
Yeah, that's the way I'm going as well, and I'm going with Rahm to make it to the quarterfinal. So you agree with that?
Yep.
Okay, so that means that we're both going to be wrong, and then underneath that, we've got DeChambeau, and let's see, DeChambeau on the top, and Dustin Johnson on the bottom of the 8. So those 8 there, you got Gooch, Westwood, Bland, you got Homa, Wolf, and Hughes. Out of that group, I still like the way DJ's kind of playing. He's a former champ. So I'm going to go with DJ because DeChambeau has shown nothing in match play so far in his career. So I'm going to go with DJ and the sleeper in that entire region there for me is going to be Homa. He's at perfect ranking of 35th. He actually played pretty well last year. He played in his first time in match play, and he lost to Billy Horschel, who went on to win the championship. So, and by the way, Homa's got 4 straight top 20s coming in.
Wow.
So he's my sleeper, but I'm going to stick with DJ to take on Jon Rahm in the quarterfinals. How about you?
Oh, let me see. What have I got? No, I've got Bryson.
DeChambeau against Rahm?
I think Bryson is going to be able to overcome DJ. I was not impressed with Dustin's game when I walked with him on Saturday, and he hit it all over the place. So he made some amazing, holes and shots, but I don't think his game is going to beat Bryson. Bryson's had a lot of time off because of his injury, but I still think, and his injury was not golf related. He fell. So he's been really, really working on his game. So this is a good one for him because it's kind of he's going to go for everything.
All right. So you're going to have DeChambeau and Rahm. Of course, everybody wants to see DeChambeau and Koepka, but it's going to be DeChambeau and Rahm for you in the quarters. And for me, it's going to be Rahm and DJ. So again, I got the sleeper in that region is Homa. Who's your sleeper in the region?
Let's see.
You got Cameron Young. You got Varner. Could be a sleeper.
I think Varner's mine.
Okay. And by the way, he'll be playing for the first time. And in the previous, because we can't count Jason Day, So, because that was the first time anybody played on the golf course. So, since then, since 2017, we have had nobody winning this event that has never played it before. So,
Oh,
just keep
wow.
that in mind. So, first time entrants just do not, and that's not a surprise. Okay, let's get to the bottom half of that region then. And well, first of all, we might as well go through it all. Who do you think gets to the semifinals then? For me, it's going to be DJ over Rom. So I'm going to have DJ in the semis. Who are you going to have in the semis, Rom or DeChambeau?
Rom.
Okay. Now let's go to the bottom half. Who will play Rom in the semis? So we take a look at that. We start, and I think this is a mega tough 4 group. How dare they put this group together?
Yeah.
You have Scheffler, Fitzpatrick, Fleetwood, and Poulter, who's like one of the best match play players in the world, all in the same foursome in that group. Wow. Now, I'm going to still take Scheffler, who's the favorite of that group, but anybody can win that one. And I actually think Fleetwood is a sleeper there, too.
He is. He started playing really well last weekend. And again, I watched him play, and he was actually hitting it really well. But I'm picking Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Fitzpatrick. And so he beat Scheffler, who was runner-up last year. Fleetwood again, who has actually Tommy. Keep in mind, Tommy Fleetwood was 5th last year. He's got 3 straight top 25s on the season, and he lost to Horschel last year in 19 holes.
Wow.
Horschel went on to win the championship.
Oh, wow. That's interesting that he's got good stats. And I was kind of thinking of him rather than Matt Fitzpatrick because, again, the British play a lot of match play.
And Poulter, meanwhile, 47-19 all time in match play.
Wow.
In his career, which is incredible. Wow. 2010 champ, but on a different course. Okay, yeah. So Horschel, Peters, Hoagie, and then Lee. So to me, this looks like a perfect setup for Horschel.
I agree.
All right. So I have Scheffler beating a Horschel to get to the quarters. Who do you have? Fitzpatrick or Horschel?
Horschel.
All right. Now let's get to see who plays Horschel in the quarters. And you've got Hatton, Berger, Kim, and Bezuidenhout. I'm going to take Berger to get to the round of 16 and to play Cantlay for a chance to get to the quarters. Who are you going to have there in that bottom 2?
I'm going with Hatton.
Okay.
The reason is that, again, he's playing well. He has a tendency, this is my feeling, he has a tendency to, I don't want to say choke, but he misses some putts coming down the stretch or misses some shots. But right now, I feel like he's playing well. And it's early enough in the match play. I don't think he'd do it. If it was towards the end, maybe. But I really like the way he's playing right now.
Okay, and then Cantlay, Power, Mitchell.
You got to go with Cantlay.
Okay. Cantlay, Hatton.
Yep.
Who are you going to take?
Cantlay.
All right. You have Cantlay and Horschel in the quarters. I have Berger and Scheffler in the quarters. I have Scheffler in the semis against DJ. Who's going to play Rom in the semis for you, Jan?
Let's see. I picked
Horschel or Cantlay?
Cantlay.
Okay. Cantlay it is. And give me a sleeper. For me, it would be Fleetwood because he's ranked 46th. And he's got a tough first 4 just to get out of. So I'd have Fleetwood as my sleeper. Would you have a sleeper in that region?
Probably Horschel. I'm not sure.
I'm not going to give you Horschel as a sleeper.
Okay,
I'll take champ.
I'll take Fitzpatrick. I'll take Fitzpatrick.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Okay, that'll work. All right, it is. All right, let's now go to the other side of the bracket. And we're going to start with let's go up top there where you have Morikawa as the 2 seed. And keep in mind, Morikawa last year, disaster. He did not win a match. So, and he's a tough player to handicap. Morikawa is a guy that could be doing nothing one week, and he goes out and he wins a major event the next. He's just impossible to handicap.
I agree. I watched him play the other day, and it's the same thing. I like that he's a great iron player, but he didn't do anything impressive last week when I was watching. So I'm with you. I actually do not. I'm not choosing him. I'm actually going with Kokrak.
Oh, okay, because Garcia is in there as well, and Garcia is a very good match play.
He
That's a nice
is,
sleeper, Kokrak.
and he's also yours is in the 40 bracket. But I like Kokrak is a really long hitter, and
Okay.
sometimes with Morikawa, if he's tries to keep up with him, I think that might be a problem. The only thing that he has in his favor is he'll be hitting his second shots in first because he'll be behind him, and he's a really good iron player. But I don't think he's putting well right now.
Garcia,
No,
Morikawa.
Morikawa, Colin.
Okay. And by the way, Garcia finished 5th the last 2 years, and he's got the most top tens out of any player in the field in match plays.
Oh wow!
At WGC PGA Tour match plays. So he's got 8 top tens. So we'll see if Sergio can finally get a win, though. Okay, because he's a very good match play player. And now I have Garcia against Harmon. And in the bottom 4, it's Answer, Simpson, Harmer, and Watson. And Bubba, very good match play player, has won this event before. And he's high in the odds at 75 to 1. He won this event in 2018. So who do you like? That's a decently interesting 4. Who do you like?
Harmon, Brian. I think he's really playing well. I watched him again on Sunday. In fact, his swing looked so good, I videotaped it. I was really impressed. And he was working really hard this week. And so I actually am like you. I'm having him as my sleeper.
I love Harmon this week, period. A lot. And so I'm going with Harmon. By the way, he fits the profile too. He's an American. He's ranked 50th in the country. You talked about him last week. He played well, finishing 5th. And he's played twice here. 5th last year. Top 10 the last time he played here. And when he lost in 2018, he lost to the eventual champ, Bubba Watson, in 2018. By the way, he came back and beat Watson last year to get some revenge on Watson. And we'll see. They just magically in the same 4 again. Okay, so you have Kokrak and Harmon. Who are you going to have in the quarters?
I'm going to have Kokrak and Oosthuizen.
Oh, okay. So you've got Oosthuizen over Casey, Connors, and Noren. By the way, that is another tough foursome.
It is.
Because
it's always the middle ones that are the hardest ones to choose because they're all pretty close together.
I actually think this is the toughest region, by the way, period.
Yeah, I agree.
This region right here. You have Casey, who's excellent at match play. Oosthuizen, same thing. Noren is a tremendous match play player. This is a tough region. So you have Oosthuizen, and then Schauffele, Finau, Herbert, and the Japanese guy. Who are you going to go with?
Well, I know Tony's not playing very well right now, so I'm probably going to go with Schauffele.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go Schauffele. Well. And I'm going to take Noren. So you're going to
go Noren is. I watched him play the other day, and I mean, I didn't realize how long he was. He went for a par 4 on 14-5 that I didn't think anyone else went for, and he was long enough to carry the water, so I was quite impressed.
Yeah, 2 top 5s in 5 appearances on this course, 3 top 15s in his last 5 on the season. And again, by the way, he won the Paul Lowry match play in 2016, and he's 19-8 all time in match play.
Wow.
So, Noren, excellent at match play. So I have Noren against Harmon in the quarters. And
interesting.
You said Kokrak and Oosthuizen?
Yeah.
All right. I like the fact that we're now completely disagreeing, which is perfect. And then who do you have in the semis?
I have
Oosthuizen or Kokrak?
Oosthuizen.
All right. So Oosthuizen. And your sleeper, I guess you could say Harmon would qualify. So would Kokrak.
Yeah.
Who would be your top sleeper? Oh, Kokrak, obviously. You got him in the quarters. Okay, so yeah. Kokrak. And my top sleeper, well, I've got 2 of them in there, Harmon and Noren, and I'm going to have Harmon in the semis. But I like both Harmon and Noren. All right, now we go to the final region, and we'll start with Justin Thomas Kisner, who won this championship just a couple of years ago. Leishman and List. Who's gonna come out of that foursome?
Well, I like Kez, but I'm going with Justin Thomas because he's working so hard. He came 2.5 hours before his tee time on Saturday, and spent an hour on the putting green with his dad doing speed drills. So he's ready for a win. He's pretty desperate for a win, I think. I mean, everybody was saying how much he was really trying so hard. It was almost too hard to win on Sunday.
Yeah, he's not a very good player so far. So we'll see if he could break out. And Kisner is a tough one there. But you're going to go
Yeah.
with JT. I'll take Kisner because he's got so much success. The other foursome is Spieth, Scott, Rose, and Bradley. So you have a couple of veterans, Scott and Rose. As a matter of fact, you got 4 major champs in this
Wow.
foursome. How about that? I'm going to take, believe it or not, I'm actually going to go with Justin Rose.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm going to go with the sleeper too. I'm going with Keegan.
Okay.
Because Keegan is Keegan. I mean, he's been coming back maybe the last 6 months. He's really played well. So I'm taking Keegan.
All right. So I have Rose and Kisner. And again, I'm going to, this is where I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm going to take Justin Rose to get to the quarters. So a little bit of a surprise there. I think he's a little bit, I don't know if he can go all the way. I don't think so. But maybe he could pull off a surprise. I just think that little region there, the little area, the top part, I don't think it's that very tough. So I think we might have a surprise there. Okay. You have Bradley and JT. Who's going to the quarters?
JT.
Okay. Bottom half, Neiman, Nah, Henley, McNeely. Again, McNeely's in because Burns withdrew. Who do you like out of the 4?
My emotional wants me to go with Kevin Na because my caddy caddies for him. So that part, but
He hasn't been
I don't
playing
know.
well.
I mean, Neiman, on the draw should do well. What's his record?
Neiman actually only played once, and that was last year. And Neiman, I don't think he didn't really do a whole lot. So he hasn't really, not a lot of experience so far.
I'm
And
stuck
my pick is
between
Henley, by
Neiman
the
and
way.
Na. I think I'm going to go with Neiman, but I'm hoping that Kevin is such a good putter that if he can start making putts, it can be very disconcerting.
Okay.
So I'm hoping for Kevin Na, but I think it's going to be Neiman.
All right, and again, I'm going to take Henley, myself, Russell. Let's see, where was he ranked? He's ranked 39th. American 39th. He's in that zone I like. And then
Yeah.
Hovland, Zalatoris, Tringali, and Straka. That actually could be pretty tough. But
Yeah.
Straka playing well, and Tringali still has never won a professional event, which is crazy.
Yeah. He's
Your
been out
boys,
there a long time.
yes, your boy Zalatoris.
Yeah.
He played last year, didn't do much, but this year's different. I actually got to take Zalatoris.
You know what? I want Zalatoris, but I'm going with Hovland.
You gonna do the smart thing?
Yeah.
By the way, Hovland did not do well last year at all. So
He's not good under pressure in those 6-foot putts. I've seen he doesn't handle the pressure well. He's another one of those guys like Hatton that when he has to make a 4 or 5 footer, he misses. I mean, I watched him mess up a tournament in Dubai doing this. He missed a couple of putts coming down the stretch that was short. But his game is so good. I think he's going to break through.
Okay. And you have Neiman and Hovland. Who's going to play JT in the quarters?
I'm going with Hovland.
And who's going to play Oosthuizen in the semis? JT or Hovland?
That's a good one. What have I got? Let's see. I guess I didn't do that one. That's a good one. I think I'm stuck there.
I'll give you some time because I'm going to go with Henley. So I'm taking a little bit of a surprise there. I'm taking Henley to take on Harmon. That's my surprise semis. The other semis is a little bit more chalky with Dustin Johnson and Scheffler. But who are you going to take? Who's your pick? Hovland or JT? Will the knees buckle for Hovland? And I tell you what, in my opinion, if JT gets this far, I think he beats Hovland.
I have to go with what I agree with you. I'm going with JT.
because I don't think JT. I still not sure about his match play and overall. I don't think he's going to get that far. But if he does, watch out. So,
I agree.
okay, so you have Justin Thomas and Oosthuizen in one semis. And let's see, it's a 6 seed against a 10 seed. So you got a 6 and a 10. And you got John Rahm, the 1 seed, against Cantlay, the 4 seed. Okay. So I have DJ, and DJ, I have, let's see, he's an 8 seed, and Scheffler, he's a 5 seed. And then I've got Harmon and Henley, and Harmon is a 44th seed, and Henley is a 34th seed.
Wow.
Okay, which actually is where the winners come from here. So, so I am going to go with Scheffler against Brian Harmon in the championship.
Wow.
And I'm going to take Harmon to win the championship.
A really long hitter, and that's it. That'll be it. That will be the surprise. I'm gonna go with the sponsor's dream. I'm going with the finals. John Rahm and JT, John and Justin Thomas.
That would be. And who wins it?
I think JT.
All right, that would be that would be, like you said. I think if the only thing I'm worried about, the only thing, because I agree with everything obviously you're saying about JT, is that he's just not done any of it before in match play. That's the only thing that bothers me. But if he gets on a little bit of a roll, then watch out.
Yeah, so, I agree. He's working too hard not to.
And give me a sleeper. Let me see your sleepers. Your sleepers would be
Oosthuizen.
Kokrak would be your top sleeper, I guess.
Yeah, Oosthuizen and Cantlay. I like those two for the finals.
Cantlay and Oosthuizen. Yep, you got them both in the semis. And let's see, any other slow? Oh, Fitzpatrick might be a sleeper for you.
Yep.
And Neiman is still considered kind of a sleeper, maybe.
Yeah.
Bradley
that makes me nervous. That those ones, like there's a couple of those ones that's hard to pick. Once someone does that, they might go a long way.
All right, so there you go. And so my official picks are going to be. My picks are different because I have to go by the amount of money I have to invest. So even though Harmon's my top pick, I'm going to go with Scheffler 1, DJ 2, Harmon 3, Noren 4, and Henley 5. And then my 2 alternates are going to be Garcia and Fleetwood. Garcia 1, Fleetwood 2. But again, Harmon is my overall pick to win the championship, nonetheless. All right. So what's next week?
Then it's the regular Houston Open, isn't it?
They still playing the Houston Open at this time of year? I think that they changed the schedule on that.
It was always the week before the Masters. I don't know. I haven't looked.
Yeah, let me take a look because I think they might have changed that. Let's see what we got here. We're into the end of March. Okay, so and by the way, they're playing also. They're playing in what, Punta Cana this week, Dominican.
Oh yeah, they're playing in the Dominican.
Okay, that starts Thursday. Okay, yeah, it's the Valero Texas Open next week.
Yeah.
So they've moved Houston to a different time of year now officially. So it's the Valero Texas Open, and the defending champ is Jordan Spieth.
Oh, that's right, in his hometown.
And then it's off to the Masters. How about that? The Masters coming up in a couple of weeks. Jan, I appreciate it. We have a lot to catch up on. We did a whole lot of handicapping for once on this show. Got you to do the wall-to-wall handicapping, so that was cool. And, of course, we'll do the same with the Masters. But next week, we'll have a little bit of a gap. Maybe we'll obviously handicap. We'll spend a little bit of time on the Texas Open, but we'll play catch-up because I haven't asked you about your experience at the Hall of Fame a couple of weeks ago. So we're going to get caught up on that and a few other things. So, Jan, appreciate it, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Okay. Thanks, Greg.